Welcome back to HM&E Big E Review Things. Today, we are joined by our regular panelist, Rob, in a place where we thought we would not be.
Yes.
Picard Season 3 has come out, and after Season 2, we had vowed to not watch it again. We had released a video.
Yes.
An autopsy of a character, assassination of a character. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
We were looking at how they completely killed the character of Jean-Luc Picard. And that we said we were done. We were done. There's nothing. It's the first two seasons were so bad, we're not coming back. But yet here we are. We have seen now the first two episodes. And what are our thoughts? Well, what were your thoughts when season 3 was announced?
Well, I mean, obviously, when season 1, was announced, we were at New York Comic Con. We saw Patrick Stewart in the flesh. He was so excited to tell us about, and everybody. It was packed. Everybody was excited because you saw in the first trailer, you saw Troy and Riker. You saw Brent Spiner as Data, and everybody thought, man, this is going to be amazing to see some parts of this reunion. But then we got season 1, and everybody thought this was kind of a weird use of the characters. Not a terrible use, but just a weird use. Season 2 rolled around with Guinan.
Because she was Data's daughter.
Right.
Which made no sense. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Then we had season 2. Guinan showed up. Q showed up. Very forgettable, weird uses of them. So when they said, let's bring the full cast back, I thought, they're going to ruin every single one of these characters. These beloved characters that we grew up with.
That we would need to film an additional assassin of a character for each character.
Rob?
What were you thinking when they announced?
Well, when they announced it, like you knew something was up. They did the reception for season 1 was mediocre. Season 2 was probably worse. And with the cast with the reunion of the cast, they were looking for a course correction. Like they wanted people. Okay, we heard you now, and this we're bringing everyone back together so that we've listened to you, and now we're gonna have this reunion, and you should check out season 3. And you brought up the point how they announced that in the middle of season 2, right?
Yeah, that's very much like, I think even the studio knew that, this is kind of a problem. The fan reception is really poor. We're kind of seeing it's just not kind of working out season 2. Let's desperately release something that'll get their attention and keep them on board, hopefully, for next season. And I guess it worked. Because we hated season 2 and we're back.
We are back. And part of it was some of these critics that we follow, and they were saying they've been smashing Picard left, right, and center for 2 seasons. And suddenly they changed their tone. They're saying, wait, this season's actually pretty good. It's a good finale for this cast. And they've watched like 6 episodes already, which is more than us. So I was, intrigued by that. And so we're giving it another shot.
So, now 2 episodes in, what are your overall thoughts? Any kind of main notes about how you feel about season 3 so far?
This definitely has, first of all, in the first season, they really touched on a lot of member berries, right? Yeah. For example, do you remember the Enterprise D?
First episode, you mean?
Yes. First episode, right?
Yep.
Do you remember the Enterprise D?
Yeah, they talked about it a lot.
Yes.
The painting, the toy,
the figurine, and they called it an older relic. I'm like, come on, it's a Galaxy-class starship. Anyways, so you can see that they're trying to bring back, the fans. They knew that, Star Trek fans would watch this. And then at the same time, like, you'll notice that the tone is very different compared to season 1 and 2, right? I think one of the things that I enjoyed the most was, the fact that it's on a starship, right? Yes. It is Star Trekking, right? So.
Yes. Yeah, I think the tone is different. The characters are written in a way that they're reflective of their characters 20 years ago. Like I felt season 1 and 2, none of these characters were those characters. But now it seems like they're like an advanced version of their character. Riker's a little bit more jolly and sarcastic. Mm-hmm. Picard's a little bit older, and Worf is still doing his battle cries and killing people. I think it's just a stronger showing. It just feels more Star Trek. There's an actual chain of command. Mm-hmm. Picard's more respected. In the first 2 seasons, he was basically a joke, and everybody hated him. Especially the first seasons with that admiral yelling at him, berating this old man. But it just feels more Star Trek. So,
but I mean, there's still a bit of that with Captain Shaw, who.
Right.
But I feel that toes a much better line where. again, he still recognizes that they were somebody famous, and he's not just out, swearing at these guys and talking them down too much. It's just these are his orders, and he's going to do things properly by the book and not let these two cowboys come in and take over. So I think that is an example of something season 3 has done better. I think, you mentioned as well that because Riker was on season 1 as well, the chemistry between them here is much better. It feels more natural. It feels more genuine to their characters. And even with the brief chemistry brief exchange that you got with Crusher, Beverly, and Jean-Luc, it just feels a bit more... I don't know, it feels better than when we got Raffi, calling Picard JL, and it's just like, what? Where is this coming from? And like, how is this relationship working?
Exactly. I felt like season 3 is basically should have been the season 1.
Right.
Whereas I remember when there was announced, I thought they would do some scenario where they need a forced situation where the cast comes back together because probably one of the crew members is in trouble. So Picard rallies the troops and says, we got to do one final mission, guys. I thought that was, and then maybe hand it off to a new crew, for example.
Yes.
And they kind of show that even though they're old, they still have a lot of skills and teamwork and experience. I thought that was going to happen.
Yeah, which is very telling for the showrunners. Like, to make this your season 3, to bring the crew together, when it technically should have been season 1.
Now, historically, Star Trek season 3s have been better than 1 and 2. TNG season 3 was better. Enterprise was better. DS9
started to pick up.
Heading into the Dominion War and the Changeling stuff.
Voyager?
No one cared about Voyager season 3? I don't remember.
Who knows what happened in Voyager season 3?
Oh, and out in left field, Orville season 3.
Orville season 3.
Yes,
again,
excellent.
Yeah, the non-Star Trek Star Trek. So again, maybe there is a good opportunity here for season 3 for it to grow the beard in TNG terms, and maybe
the only problem is that we know it's the final season.
Yeah,
and I think again, some of the behind the scenes kind of things that I've watched. Patrick Stewart went on record saying that he does not want a TNG reunion for season 1. He said he didn't want a uniform. He didn't want a starship.
Yeah.
What he wanted was a dog. He said he wanted his dog. And he wanted
on adventures.
Yeah, and he wanted something new, right? And I
Yeah.
understand that sentiment, but again, why is the primary actor even allowed to comment on direction? He can comment on how his character should say a certain line, but in terms of the overall story, as much as people might have not liked some of what Rick Berman did, I think he was able to set a tone and a pace and sort of a universe. He built the universe in a certain way with 3 consecutive shows that were all pretty good hits. And I don't think they really have that. I don't think Alex Kurtzman particularly understands Star Trek. I think he understands entertainment in general, but not Star Trek. And I remember watching a little video of those guys getting together, and they're so excited to dream up what Picard season 1 was. But again, it proves that I don't know that they knew what they're doing.
It's so weird to me that this legendary actor, of course, can come back and say, "Oh, I want to reprise this character," under the condition that it resembles nothing of the previous character work that it was already established. It's so weird.
It's so weird, but he has.
It's like Harrison Ford coming back and saying, "I'm going to do Indiana Jones, but I don't want a whip. I don't want a hat.
Yeah.
I don't want to be going on an adventure. I now want to be, I don't know, a stockbroker in the 80s. Like, what? It makes no sense.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah.
But overall, season 3, I like the focus. Well, it's not a focus, but I feel that there's a bit more emphasis on the ships, which have always been a big part of Star Trek. The glamour shots as you approach Stardock and Space Dock, excuse me, and Stardock, Space Dock, and as you leave Space Dock, those glamour shots with the music. There was a lot of music that kind of was
Undiscovered Country. You got those.
Yeah, there was a lot of
vibes.
themes from the older
Wrath of Khan,
the older movies. That's right. Yeah. So I like that. The focus more on ships. The ships are still a little too dark.
It's a bit dark, but I think they're hitting on the normal Star Trek technology and making it work in that universe. I remember season 1 and 2 had all sorts of weird technology, including
the Hollow, the main captain Rios had like 5 holograms.
Right, and but all sorts of weird. Remember that molecular reconstruction where they could picture a crime scene, random things like that. But don't you remember the ingenious idea of Picard's synthetic body? Things like what?
Which they hint at again. There's a line drop by
that's a slap to the old fans.
By Amanda
See, we're still in control of you guys.
Yeah.
But anyways, overall, I think we're all cautiously optimistic. We're walking on eggshells a little bit. That's an analogy. It's what you said, the Indiana Jones scene where he's spelling Jehovah and he's about to fall through every...
Yeah, one wrong spelling. So we're just waiting. Each episode, maybe if he steps on the wrong stone and he's going to fall to his death, and season 3 will be terrible. But so far, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you look at the characters. Mm-hmm. The new characters introduced in season 3 are not bad, right? I like the Ferengi. I thought he was
Sneed.
pretty right.
You know what? So one thing that I do like is that there's just generally less, of that whispering emotional. Like in season 1 and 2, if Picard had met who he suspected to be his son, it definitely would have been a lot of those quiet whisperings and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't. It was the captain. He was, running down his crime sheet and rap sheet and going, "Oh, is this you? This is what you did." And it felt a bit more, yes, this is the character we know. That logical, a little bit cold captain who's kind of...
It's all the new characters that are still spewing these overly emotionalized. Every line that Raffi says is super emotional. Yes. 7 of 9 goes overboard with some of her feisty personality. Doesn't need to speak to a captain like that. So I think it's still coming through a little bit, but I'm really hoping the writing is... I think behind the scenes there's a new writing team, so it seems like it's doing better.
I'm surprised that they brought Raffi back, to be honest.
Yeah.
With the announcement of the full TNG cast, I thought it was like okay, we know none of this is working, we're just going to kind of trash all of it and bring back TNG. But they brought Raffi back, and nothing against the actress. I think she does a good job with the character. But, I mean, she's nearly cried 4 or 5 times in the 2 episodes that we've seen her in. Right?
Again, that could be we still got to remember that we had 2 first seasons.
Or maybe that appeals to some people, and that is kind of...
But her role right now, let's face it, Seven's role right now really could replace any actor, any new character.
Yeah.
They could even bring back an old character, Harry Ensign Kim. Ensign Harry Kim, is the commander. They could have brought him back.
Still an ensign. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential. We're thinking that it could be good. We're hoping it's good. But after seasons 1 and 2 of the pain that it's caused us, we're really hoping it doesn't take that path. But we're cautiously optimistic, walking on eggshells, trying to slowly spell Jehovah. I read a take saying that, maybe this is, we know this is the end of Picard and the TNG crew. Maybe this is a generation-style handoff to the next generation, because they introduced Geordi's daughter, right? And so maybe it's kind of starting a new crew, and hopefully they'll get rid of Shaw, and I don't know, maybe 7 will lead.
But then you run into the whole Skywalker issue.
The universe feels small. I agree with you. Okay, well, those are our thoughts on Picard Season 3. If you are a fan of classic Star Trek, the original series, TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and you've hated Seasons 1 and 2, as we have so far, give this one a try. It might be worth checking out. If you loved 1 and 2, let us know what you think about this. Maybe this is completely the wrong direction in your eyes. But that's why we're back at this well, this once poisoned well. We're returning, and hopefully the water has magically gotten cleaner and unpoisoned. Any final thoughts, boys?
No, thanks.
Right. Well, until next episode, keep watching things. Keep watching Picard, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, thanks for liking and subscribing to this channel and commenting. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So
we're at 116 subscribers.
Now.
So
small wins.
Thank you
so much.
you all for supporting us.
Thanks to our
thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
Thanks.